And Mr. Newland, welcome to the committee. It's nice to be able to welcome your family as well, so we appreciate that. And I appreciate the conversation that we had by phone and the opportunity to continue our discussions today. I do just want to note for the record, it's my understanding that we're still waiting for some outstanding documents from your questionnaire. I understand that our staffs have been in contact with you, and so I'm assuming that we will get those quickly, and just know that that's an important part of what we're doing here this morning. As I mentioned, Mr. Newland, in our phone conversation, you will be replacing Tara Sweeney, who was the first Alaska Native to hold the job of Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs. Ms. Sweeney is not only a woman that I've known for a long period of time. What she was able to do in that role is a considerable one, and one that I'm hoping that we will continue on with the good work that she laid down, most notably the focus on the crisis of missing, murdered Indigenous women and children. With her support there as Assistant Secretary, we had Operation Lady Justice and some key MMIW initiatives that Senator Cortez Masto and I have worked on that have been launched in these last couple years. And so we're certainly hoping that these things that she had laid forward will be initiatives that you will continue to build on. I think there's big shoes to be filled at the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and important ones. As the chairman has noted, the Office of Indian Affairs is an exceptionally important one at the Interior Department for all of the reasons, as a central rallying point for Indian initiatives across the federal government. It's called upon to educate all stakeholders, government officials, about the challenges, the problems, the opportunities that American Indians and Alaska Natives face in our country, and provides solutions in a way that affirms Native self-determination. As Assistant Secretary, you'll touch the lives of most tribes through trust management of lands, Indian education, energy development, housing, public safety, economic development such as gaming, transportation, federal acknowledgement, and so much. As we've discussed, the job is not an easy one. There are over 500 federally recognized tribes to serve. More than 200 of those are in my state, and all have different histories, different cultures. You clearly can't take a one-size-fits-all and try to superimpose that over Indian country. There are treaties and unique laws to navigate, not to mention the ongoing debates about education, economic empowerment, land interest, gaming, tribal jurisdiction, and the like. It is the position responsible for assisting the Secretary of the Interior in fulfilling the United States' sacred trust responsibility. When it comes to Alaska, we had talked about two of the unique laws, the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, ANCSA, and the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act, or ANILCA. 50 years ago, ANCSA was enacted into law as a new and a different approach by the federal government in settling Aboriginal land claims. It created Native corporations, referred to as ANCs, throughout the state, a very distinct approach to land and economic development from the reservation system of the lower 48. But ANCs, as we shared, are not like traditional for-profit corporations. Instead, they're mandated by Congress to care for social, cultural, and economic well-being of their Alaska Native shareholders in perpetuity. And it is through the federally recognized tribes, the tribal consortia, and ANCs that Alaska Natives deliver self-determination and self-governance programs at scale. This includes providing services and programs to address the pandemic that we saw throughout this past year. But even though Congress set up different types of structures for Native peoples across the country, whether tribes are located in PL 280 states or if they have different land claim settlements, it is important to understand and to represent all of them. In our phone conversation, we discussed ANCSA and these relationships. I'm raising it here again because some of what you shared with me at the time with regards to distribution of funds from the CARES Act tribal set-aside in the Coronavirus Relief Fund showed me that you're still educating yourself about Alaska Native institutions. So I'm hoping to hear more today from you on that, and really just reaffirming your support to be a strong advocate for all Native peoples. I think we've got a lot of work that we need to do. I want to highlight just a few of those in Alaska. I've shared with you the concern that I have had now for decades about the good people of King Cove, the Aleut people, who have been seeking a life-saving road for over 3 decades from the federal government. Also, what more needs to be done to speed up the cleanup of federal contamination on native conveyed lands. There's more than 1,000 sites that the federal government is legally responsible for. I know that this is not just an issue for us in Alaska, but it's faced by so many native communities across the country. And these are really environmental justice issues. It's also time for the federal government to allow tribes to dictate how they want to utilize energy development on their lands, whether it's renewables or resource extraction. It should be the tribes that decide, not the department. I would be remiss if I didn't mention public safety, and particularly the need to strengthen the tribal provisions in VAWA. So, Mr. Newland, I'm looking forward to hearing more about your vision for the Office of Indian Affairs, and that with the questions from myself and members, we'll learn a little bit more and may have additional questions following that. So again, thank you, congratulations. Mr. Chair, I turn it back to you and look forward to Mr. Newland's comments this morning.